want to call the January 12th special call meeting to order. There's one item on the agenda, the approval of renewal of resolution declaring the local state of emergency due to Hurricane Idalia. Any questions, comments, concerns, or motions?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hale, a second by Commissioner Perkins. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Mr. Clerk. Mrs. Clerk. Any other questions, comments, concerns, or other business? Commissioners, Mr. Scott?
No action. I'm just going to mention about the map. The way they're setting up in quadrants, so they're working on the western part of the county now, with monitors going back and closing them out. Anything that's highlighted is where the monitors have gone and said you're clear. They'll work a section and then work toward other areas. The idea is they're going to concentrate on an area. If you've got hazard areas, then we can go send another crew to take care of it. But they want to concentrate and try to wrap up an area so they can not just be running all over the county picking up stuff. If you've got C and D debris, then they got one crew just doing that. There's not that much of that out there.
Does that need to be, does that need to be reported, or is that something that
C and D, I need to get that so that I can pass it on to them.
Okay. I'll do my best to find that out then.
And so that's the gist of it. But they are trying to concentrate in areas and then move from there to other areas. Really the kind of the hardest hit area they're trying to work on first. And I'm not sure why they got other areas already identified too, but they are concentrating on the west side. I was out the Rocky Sink area yesterday, and there's quite a few trucks I saw coming and going out there that they were working the roads. But a couple other things just to bring your attention. There's an issue on 49 that had a meeting yesterday with Pittman. They were doing the design work for the resurfacing there at Tiger Lake, a drainage thing. We want to look at that, see if we can jump on that and take care of that or not. I don't want to create another issue, but under LSC Mike could handle that. But I want to give a good look at that before we jump on that. I reached out on 76th Street. Reached out to the landowner out there that we need to move a fence. The only parcel in the whole property that we got to do any fencing work at all. And I was informed that I need to talk to their good friend, the attorney, through that. And so I'll let our attorney talk to their attorney.
Be a nice thing to do.
And so their fence is on our right of way. And what I was going to do to make it just smooth was to have the fence work done, try to go through the grant, and then have them remove their old fence. But that probably ain't gonna happen now. So, but it's their responsibility to move their fence. So that's probably the route we'll be going. I was trying to play nice, but anyway.
Sometimes you can.
I think that's all I got. Was really just informational. We did have a meeting, a virtual meeting the other day with DEP and DOT about the vulnerability study that we're doing. And the agencies both agencies are providing additional resources for us to make sure we're successful. And so the idea is in the vulnerability study, there's maybe another name for that, but basically they're looking at flooded areas and problem areas that, whether it's economic or just flow of traffic or we got buildings that need to be raised or whatever. The idea is to do a survey, and we've already assigned that to Locklear to do with a countywide DOT has come to the table and said you can use our information we already have to streamline that process. They've also said if we know there's a problem area without going through the whole study, we can go ahead and write some grants to alleviate things now. So we're in the process of that. We also have got working with DOT on we mentioned last meeting, I think, about the $50 million pot of money that's out there for Condalia recovery. It can be done for roadways and other things. We talked last time about writing a grant for the different roadways. We're looking at trying to do over 100 roads, miles. Our standard is going to be 12 foot wide with 5 foot aprons that we want, especially on our main roads. Certain areas we'll have to shrink it down some, but we want to make sure that it's fit for truck traffic because we're getting more of that, make sure it's built, to higher standards. DOT loves the idea and has actually provided for each road a narrative mapping and photos of what it looks like now and what it could be. 250 is an example of what one of those roads to show what has been done before and the bridge, and they want to bring it all the way down and use what they've got programmed in as the match for that. DOT loves it; they're all over it. I don't know what will happen with the grant, but that's in the works too. They've extended the deadline to the 19th, so we've got an extra week to get DOT's information. We got a lot of it yesterday. Looks very first class, very sharp, professionally
We're the
done.
only ones that are doing our homework like this, and it pays off.
Right.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing now with the agencies that's hit there to help us, I've never seen this before. And I really commend y'all and y'all's leadership, staff, and the work they've been doing over the past couple of years to try to build those work through those grant processes, and more recently, as we build those relationships, it's just making a huge difference. The thing we have to keep in mind, the state has allotted money for different areas. It's our job to ask for it. If we don't ask for it, they're not successful. So we want to get every penny we can. It's like Jimmy mentioned last week about getting a call that we haven't applied for rural infrastructure grant. Well, that's in the works. We just got to get this big one out of the way first, but we'll be asking for all of that too. But it's an exciting time. The thing that's intimidating, quite frankly, is if we get 50, 60, 80, $200 million or whatever of money, then we got to float loans, we got to do whatever to match or whatever. We're trying to get all the matches waived, but we're in a good position to be in whenever you got to worry about matching as much money as we're looking at potentially getting. So
I had a crazy thought, and I was just going to float it out there, but while we're still under the local state of emergency, and we talked about cleaning up the roadsides and things like that, and we mentioned construction debris. That's where I see in my district, which there's other trash on the roads, don't get me wrong, but where I see that damage and that construction debris, you can go a quarter mile, half mile either way of where that's been piled up for a couple months now. And you can see like the insulation is strung out and up and down the road. You can see like styrofoam. I don't know, some people put styrofoam in for insulation. Is there anything there that we could use some of those monies to help clean up, even if it was a small portion of the battle we have here?
I think that's going to be an in-house deal. I don't see, and I'll think through that and see if there's a way, but I think that's going to be
I think once they pick up that construction debris, you're going to have a pile of just
stuff.
Yeah, and it's the stuff that's going to spread.
Yeah, and we're at that time of year again that we hear it every year when the grass starts dying in the winter. Just the normal litter. But yeah, you're right. There's all that stuff and folks been hauling off and they're blowing off with their trailers and insulation and whatever. But it's that time of year too where we start hearing, and seeing ourselves.
Right.
the grass is dead and the litter's more obvious because everything's dead and it sticks out.
Right.
But it is an issue.
Yes.
But it's there all year. It's just a lot more visible right now.
Yeah, but
I agree with you.
And then probably enhanced because of, like you say, the storm debris and things. Because I see it in my front yard, there's like a little chunk of insulation.
Right.
You know, all the trailers
it's something, yeah.
into the collection
I
site.
all that play with, getting those people start getting the contractor to clean up the roadways. All that play into it.
We've got that on the agenda for
Mhm.
or we'll have it. We're in the process of fine tuning that for Tuesday's meeting. What we are doing now is we've got inmates working on that as throughout the week, and then Fridays we've got crews going out to and picking up. When you start using just your, the guys on Friday, it's you can get some, but not that much. What we'll be bringing to you on Tuesday is, do we want to have one 4-man crew? Do we want to have 2 4-man crews that's year round, that picks up this every day? Do we want to have we tried contracting out before. There's people out there who's willing to do it, but from what I'm seeing, number-wise, it's about the same cost to hit it 3 times and them hitting it every day. So, but
Has the inmate situation? I mean, there for a while, post-COVID, it was no, we're not releasing inmates anywhere to do anything in fear of infection of COVID, or them obtaining it outside the fence, I guess, and then bringing it inside the fence. But has that appetite to release more changed, or?
We got a few more, but not significant. And we can certainly revisit that with the prison and say we need more bodies. So.
Or what's y'all's current policy since post-COVID? We're going to go back to the. But then again, I think, from what I recall, Mandy, the issue was you got to have certain supervisors with those certifications to be able to monitor those inmates, and I don't know our current position
I
in
think we
having
got
those.
that. But so be thinking about direction going good. If we do a 4-man crew, that's going to be $200,000 a year for a 4-man crew. $180,000, but then you got to buy a vehicle or have a used vehicle for them to get where they need to get to. So, but that has value. That, you ride through, like this time of year especially, you ride through, and they pick it up today, and then tomorrow it looks like you sit in front of your house. I mean, it's the same thing.
I mean, it's way more obvious this time of year. I mean, it's an issue all year, but it's way more obvious this time of year. But certainly, I think we need to try to focus on, because when these, just my opinion, as these debris contractors start finishing up, and our guys start hitting the hot spots or places that kind of got overlooked, and then you start hitting on March, and then start cranking the mowers up. Well, we need to have an effort to try to get that stuff up before a bush hog runs over it and turns one piece into 25 pieces.
Right. Exactly. So
Probably not March, probably more like May, by the time you crank the mowers up and grass grows.
if we reach out and try to hire folks, it's going to take it's a process. But that's why we go ahead and Frank, this should have started 2 months ago to get ready for the season. But
the plate's been kind of full with this debris and everything else.
Right. But anyway, that's anything else. Next week, we got legislative. We've got any updates from Grissom on scheduled meetings we have already.
I know we're meeting with DEM, I think at 2 o'clock. That was the last update I got. He's supposed to send it over, but I haven't got it yet. But I know that one meeting is set like at 2 to 2:45 on Wednesday. So waiting to hear. He's trying to set up like 4 meetings over there, so with different agencies as well as the legislators. So.
Good. One thing too that I talked to Mike about last week. Monday. About the DC firm, their wing of the firm that does lobbying in DC. I asked about that. He sent me a proposal before, and I just let it sit there. I want them to be, quite frankly, a bit hungry before we just jump off. But there is a lot of money in DC, obviously. But we're trying to set up a meeting with them either this week or next week or the following week, rural county days, even if it's a phone call, to talk with them about what they can offer. Yeah, I want to see. I want to have a better idea of what they think they can bring to us before we write a check. I think it'll pay off if we were to do that, but we got so much going with the state stuff right now, and those relationships are building daily. Staff is engaged with what's going on with them. We have a great rapport with those folks, and we need to have the same thing with DC. I did have Shannon reach out to, it was in the meeting we had in Perry, the guy, say Greg DeVane, something. He's the regional economic development guy for Washington, that's stationed in Gainesville or Atlanta, I think. But when I talked to him at that meeting, he said, we really haven't done much in Suwannee County in a long time. So I said, well, it's time. So he seemed to be engaged then. So I talked to Shannon last week about it. He's in the process of reaching out to him about, okay, what is the big ask we need of DC for economic development? So I'd like to bring him here at some point to kind of show him what we are doing, what economic development is doing. But anyway, we got a lot of plates we're spinning right now, but it's an exciting time.
Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Boys got to get to work, right?
Yep, gotta get to work.
All right, nothing else.
Appreciate the update, sir.
All I need is a motion. Motion by Commissioner Perkins, second by Commissioner Mobley. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.